Hi everyone, welcome back to Nix and Nax. It's Maria. So today I'm going to walk you through this beautiful project. It's an amazing centerpiece, something that you could use indoors or outdoors. The sky's the limit in terms of your imagination. You know, what color theme you want to add, what kind of items you'd like to add to it. So I hope you enjoy this project. Please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And let's get started.
So I'm going to use this old garden trellis that I have just laying around. I haven't really used it in a while, and so I thought this would be the perfect item to use as the base. I'm also going to use some of those pine cones I've used in the past for decorations throughout the house for the holidays. I also have fishing pole wire, and this one is, I think, a 50-pound. So you want to make sure that it's sturdy enough to be able to hold, whatever you're going to be hanging. We've got the jute twine, and I've got some of those picks, those sparkly picks, and of course you decide what colors you want, whatever theme you'd like to use. So use some of that. I've got those S hooks, and that's what I'm going to use to hang the centerpiece in the ceiling. I've got clippers, and I also have some additional decorations that I can use to hang. I've got these crystal beads that I bought at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to glue those to the fishing wire because I think that will be perfect to kind of hang. I've got also those other kind of like Christmas ornament looking items. I can use those to add some of those beads, and then also even use those tea lights. That would give it a little bit more of mood. In this case, I think I'm just going to use the little stones, and then of course you're going to need your greens, and that's anything that you'd like. But just make sure that as soon as those are cut, those fresh greens are cut, that you put them in water so they absorb as much water, and you could keep that ornament hanging for at least a couple weeks. So for my greens, I actually went to my backyard. I've got a couple of ficus trees, and that's what I'm going to use. As I mentioned, as soon as you cut the greenery or whatever you bring from home, you could certainly buy something at the grocery stores. But whatever it is, just make sure that it has been placed in water for a good, I would say 2 to 4 hours, because that will help to maintain the greens as fresh as possible. I am cutting probably more than what I'll need because I want to make sure that I have enough to go around that trellis. That trellis is probably about maybe 2 feet in length. So anyway, and the tree, our ficus tree needed a little trim, so it's fine if I took a little bit extra. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding the greenery onto the trellis, and I'm using the jute twine to secure those in place. Now, as I mentioned, I'm using the ficus branches, but you could use pine tree cuttings. Really, any type of branch with greens will work. Now, if you want it to last longer, there are, certain type of trees that within a couple days they dry up. So just keep that in mind. So as I'm adding the branches, I pick up the trellis, so that I can check and see, where do I need to add a little bit more. So where are those spots that are bare, and so that helps. You can also uh, hang the trellis ahead of time, depending on that height. And then, you could start adding some of the greenery, but it could be a little bit difficult. So for me, it was easier just to place the greenery on the trellis and then go back up and place it once it's all done. So now I'm going to add that same fish line, with hot glue right at the top of the pine cones. And I'm just going to let it dry. And that's what I will use to suspend, and tie up on the trellis, and give it that sort of forest effect. And because it's, that's almost see-through fish line, you won't really get to see it, and you'll see that once the all of the different items are hanging with the lights around it, it looks really pretty. Here I'm using these kind of plastic crystal, diamond pieces that I found at the Dollar Tree, and I'm doing the same thing. That I'm adding a little bit of that hot glue, and then I'm placing that fish line, and then I'm placing a second piece on top of it, so it looks like it's sort of suspended, and you won't really see that fish line. It looks really nice once the lights hits those glass, or that plastic. It shines and it looks really pretty. Very easy to do. I think the packet has about 25 of them, and I probably only used maybe half of a pack. So I could certainly add a lot more. I wanted to make it a little bit more just simple, but you could really use maybe 2 packs, and I think it would look really beautiful. And with the sparkly picks, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a little bit of that hot glue, attach the fish line, and let it dry. So I'm having my husband and my son help me put up the centerpiece in my covered patio. He's using the S hooks and the fish line to secure in place. The weight capacity of that fish line, again, it's 50 pounds. So this trellis, even with all the decorations, once they're all placed and the lights, it probably weighs maybe, I don't know, 10 pounds. So that 50-pound fish hook is more than enough. And here's what it looks like. I haven't added the decorations yet. It's just the greenery, and by itself it looks stunning. It's beautiful, very natural looking. So you could certainly stop right here, but I wanted to add a little bit of that bling. But again, if you wanted to leave it at that point, it looks beautiful as well. And the final step here is to add those hanging elements that we put together, which were the pine cones, the crystal beads, and the holiday picks, those sparkly ones, and also those orbs. I did not show you what I did with the orbs, but the orbs actually have a little sort of hook, and then so I just tied the fish hooks to those and then just hung. And this is what those individual pieces look like. On the orbs, I added some of those crystal beads, and so see there, you could see them. And so during the day, this already looks stunning, but in the evening, once you add the lights, it makes everything look really beautiful and sparkly. And I only used about, I think, maybe 6 or 7 pine cones. I did about maybe another 6 of those picks, the sparkly picks, and then about maybe another 6 of those hanging crystal beads. But all together, it combined, it just looks absolutely stunning. And the last item I'm adding to the trellis is the LED lights. These are battery operated, and they do have different modes. So it could be twinkling, it could be just stay still, it could be flashing. So I really like those. So depending on what kind of ambiance you want to add, you can certainly turn those into each of those different modes. I have 2 that I've added. I wanted to have enough little lights throughout, and so I used 2. You can also use some of those Christmas lights that you would use for your Christmas tree if you wanted to have a little bit more of lighting in there as well. I also made sure to hide the box where the batteries are placed, so I kind of tucked it in an area where you won't be able to see them. And this is what our final product looks like. This is absolutely stunning and beautiful, easy to do. It does not take a lot of time, and fairly inexpensive. So I hope you guys give this project a try. I really had fun putting this together, and I hope that you will do so too. Please, again, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and give it a thumbs up, and I will see you at the next project.